So what I've got for you today is a little bit more of a how-to. So not a lot of story or journey. Mine is about starting a lean HR. Lean HR, unlike a lean startup, you don't really want to fail fast. It's the last thing you want to do. But one thing that we took into consideration on day one was that we needed to consider HR or people and culture right away, and we needed to find some tools that were going to do that for us when we were really small. We knew that it was going to be quite a while before we got to the size where we'd have an HR staff or team, and we still don't, even though we're now 30 people. I think we're hitting that critical mass. We just had that meeting today where we were going over that job description. Talent acquisition, HR, all those things that a company of 30 in 2 cities, we're in Vancouver and we're in Toronto, need. But up until now, it has been me, the CEO. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't shortchange anyone or shortchange the organization by saying, oh, we don't have an HR team, we don't have an HR department, so that'll have to wait. We're a services company, so options and stock, it's not really something that's going to be put on the table, so we don't have a big exit plan. We have a slow growth plan, being that we are a professional services company. Let's see. What do? We build products and services for large companies that can't build them fast enough themselves, so we can fail on their behalf. What do I mean by that? A lot of large organizations are trying to innovate, trying to catch up, can't, so they hire us to do so. We will work with them either in our agency or we'll put in a product SEAL team into their organization of a cross-functional team that will build a product to service and bring it to market much quicker than they can. We sometimes will continue to build and iterate for years at a time. We'll be the product team with their product owners. And sometimes we'll hand the code base over once they're back up and running, and they'll take over. They always own the IP. That's me, in case you can't tell. Some of our clients, one that wasn't mentioned there that we're doing work for, is also Fitbit out of San Francisco. So nurturing starts day one. Don't put it on the back burner. You may have a bunch of people in the room working all towards one thing, but after a while, you work them hard enough and you don't take care of their needs. Burnout will hit. Things that seem like little things start to become big things fast, and people start to wander off. And if they do, the debt that goes with them when they leave, trying to make up for that loss, is huge. So how do you keep them? This is an HR department, lots of stuff, tons of stuff. You can solve a lot of these problems with just a few apps. Keep it simple to start, just 3 things. Everyone needs vision and direction. Your team needs a platform for safe feedback so that they can give feedback for negative things, positive things, and recognition and rewards. So you can do it when you're small and you're running as fast as you can. 3 simple things that are pretty cost effective. The cool thing is if you're under 10, most of these apps are free. The freemium models for a lot of these HR apps is 10 and under are free. So it's a pretty easy way to get up to 10, and after that it's pretty cost effective. First one that we went with was something called Small Improvements. Is anybody using it? It's performance management software. It's designed to be lean, less than an hour per person to do performance reviews a couple times a year. When we introduced it, we had a bunch of people that had been at large organizations that groaned and rolled their eyes and were like, oh no, performance management software, what the? When we got through it, and at the end of the 1 week, everyone was really excited. Even the EOR of the team was like, you know what? That was really cool. I know where I stand, I know our vision, and I know where I'm going. It does really 3 things: objectives, communication, and 360 reviews. Software is super easy to use. You get a grid. You have 1 person per hour. There's an overall rating, a self-rating, a 2D assessment, what they're doing great and what they can improve on. Super easy for someone to do. Their manager does it. You guys meet for an hour, sign off on it, and away you go. And the nice thing about it is if you do this 2 or 3 times a year, instead of waiting 1 year for that dreaded performance review, it's really not a big thing. It's designed to be small and light, helps you communicate with your team in a meaningful, impactful way, and gives them the direction and feedback that they want. These are just some slides. We do this twice a year. We're about to do our next one. We're using OKRs. It has OKRs in it. Anyone using OKRs in their organization? Wow, that's surprising. OKRs are built right in, which is objectives, key results. Super easy way to get a company all going in the one direction. I'm just going to go to the next app here. The next one is a safe platform for feedback. So we've introduced this a few months ago when we hit around 18 people. Started to hear, whispers of things or things maybe not working out. Didn't know how to get those ideas brought forward to the management team. There's now we have 5 directors, a VP of operations, and myself. We wanted to make sure that we could hear what the team was saying, what they wanted. So we used this Office Vibe app that ties into Slack. It asks them a 2-minute survey every 2 weeks or every 1 week. Asks them a series of questions. It's pretty fun, super easy to do. It's anonymous. You can get it through email or Slack, weekly or bi-weekly, and the managers can reply back. It's a fun interface, and once someone's gone through it once or twice, they know it's going to only take a minute or two. We've got a very high participation rate, and the questions get changed up, and you can put your own in there as well. So there's some of the screens that pop up. Then at the end, they'll ask a question, what could be done better, what's going on with management, and we see it all, and you'd be amazed at what you see that people may not want to surface. So right now, we just finished our trial, and we're inviting more people in, but we got some really high engagement scores. We had someone talk about this the other day. Growing is hard. Adding layers of process to support is challenging. We need the right people to support management strategy going forward with clear direction. Basically, we've gone through a real hard 3 weeks, and I started to see these coming in this last week and see the signals with some clear direction that people wanted. We were all green 3 weeks ago. We're not all green right now. We know why, but to see this come in every week and see where you can move the needle, as well as there's answers and questions. Once I click in, you can do a deep dive. But as you grow, you want to know the stuff about your team. You can't ignore it and say, you know what, we're going to exit in a couple of years. We'll just keep going, driving them really hard. You can make some small differences. And they'll make suggestions that they wouldn't do in person anonymously that make huge differences. Last one, Bonusly. I know startups don't have a lot of money, but you can bonus in really small ways. This one's super cool. We've been doing it 2 years. You give everybody an allowance. It can be $10, it can be $25. We did $25. You bonus your peers, you bonus your boss, you bonus your direct reports. Doesn't really matter. Put your values in. If they're recognized for something that you think is worth it, you give them some money. That money goes into a catalog. After a couple of months, or depending on what their allowance is, they can buy stuff from Amazon, Best Buy, or what have you. Tangible, real bonuses. And then we get to see all the analytics, and everyone gets to see who's doing what. So it's really quick. Looks like Twitter. People can add to it. It goes into Slack, so it pushes all the bonuses in. People get to see what's going on. At Christmas, right now, you'll see a lot of Best Buy cards, Amazon cards. Then we get to see, so there's some of the things that they get. We put custom ones in. We put a full day off. We're down by Revolver, so there's Revolver cards. We've added an Apple Watch because we do iOS. A lot of people saw the new version of Apple Watch, so a lot of people working towards that. So you can tweak it. You can see the metrics, who's giving, who's getting, all the different categories. So it really helps you. And at twice a year when we have our team events, basically the category winners get various prizes on top of what's already there. You can see by department. And then you see the words that are being used and what the team's putting in to surface up. It's not a complicated app, but again, over a 30-day period, you can see what's going on. We had the first weekend work in 6 years, 2 weeks ago, because we were behind on a project. So that was for rewards that everybody got for working on the weekend. And that is it. I got a little nervous because I saw how many slides I had to go through, so. All right, any questions?
I think that recruitment is the first spot where you need to look at culture. So do you use anything right now to help you recruit for culture to make sure you're getting the right people?
Well, all of our directors are trained in a certain philosophy of identifying talent, hiring A players, it's called. So that's one way for spotting talent, interviewing talent in a certain way, checking references in a certain way. We all do it one way, based on this book that each director gets on day one that they have to read if they're going to build a team. We have all of these things as well as our other benefits advertised on our page. Any paid recruiters are using that as well. All of our job postings talk about this. We have, in the summer, we have on 3-day weekends. Ours are 4-day weekends. Everybody gets baseline 3 weeks off, got a kitchen full of stuff. So we've got like all the table stakes, but these are the pieces I think that are important, and we do communicate those really early on when we're recruiting. Hiring A players. Who? Hiring A players. It's a great book, and I always get an eye roll when I hand it on day one to the directors because they're like, oh, I know how to hire. And then they come back a week later and they go, that was the best book on hiring I've ever read. Not a lot of people have read a book on hiring, but this one, and I give recruiters, and they do the same thing. They roll their eyes and they come back and they go, wow, that's a great book. It's written by the same people that wrote one called Top Grading, if you know that one. Anyone else? And we're hiring. All this could be yours. We're looking for folks that do Node. One of our clients that we do work for, one of the large telecommunications companies, are changing their tech stack. So because we have our product SEAL teams, we need folks that do Node. So if you're a Node expert, intermediate or above, I'd love to talk to you.